What's up, family? Listen, so I was thinking earlier today um, about my children, but specifically my daughter, and so I was like, man, it would be good if I did a little record a little series where I'm talking to my children because I'm always talking about how, man, I did not know certain things when I was raising my children, and now all of my children are grown, right? My youngest one is 25, 4. How old is my son? This used to 25. Don't laugh. Y'all got kids too. Y'all forget their ages. It's not just me. Anyway, 25, 29, and my daughter's 31. So, uh, what you don't get into your children when they're younger, whatever life lessons, it's a lot difficult to get them to them when they're older. Because you know how when you got older, and if your parents had tried to teach you something, especially once you already believe you know how things go, you're not really trying to listen to them. And the thing that I want to do is prevent my children from walking the way that I've walked. At least, like I'm 52. I calculated, now this is just me, okay? I calculated the other day that by my estimation, I'm about 20 years behind um, where I would like to be as far as, let me just say, doing life on the planet, about 20 years behind. And so I want to help my children not be 20 years behind. And by doing that, I felt like it'd be good for you guys to join me because there may be some things that I'm sharing with my children that you may want to share with yours that'll help them do love and life better than you've done it. Okay. So here's the first one. Something is in my eye and I'm trying to ignore it, but I can't. I'm sorry. We're live. So here's the first one. Um, and I have more, by the way. So let me just say, I'm gonna do a couple of more videos. I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do several for my daughter. I'm gonna do some for both of my sons because what I'm gonna talk to my sons about is different than I'm gonna talk to my daughter about. Some of it, right? But here are 5 things I would tell my daughter about love and like the date relationships. Now these aren't the only 5. Obviously, there are more than 5 things, but these 5 are the ones that I came up with today. Number one, here's what I would tell my daughter. Make following Christ your number one priority. Your number one priority in your life, make following Christ the number one priority. All right. I thought you said that this is going to be relationship advice. It is. Oh, trust me, it is. See, what I've learned in my life is that um, trying to do life, trying to do relationships, trying to have intimate connection with other human beings, when Christ is not leading you, is the perfect recipe for destruction. Perfect. How do I know? Because I've lived it. I've lived it. So make following Christ your number one priority. And here's what I mean by making him your number one priority. Not just knowing about him, not just, knowing, well, I know he existed and I know he died for my sins, way beyond that, because following Christ has so many benefits for doing life here on the planet. There are so many promises that God wants to give you that you need when you're trying to do human relationships. Peace is one of them. Patience is another one. But the probably the biggest one is discernment. You need God's wisdom, not just wisdom. You need God's wisdom to be able to move correctly, choose correctly, and do the right things. So that's first thing. Make following Christ your number one priority. Number two, do the work to discover who you are so that you don't spend your life living the life of your negative beliefs. I wish somebody had told me that when I was 19, 21. Do the work to discover who you are. See, I don't believe that we have to become ourselves. You're already you, but you've become what your beliefs say you are. So in your childhood, when your parents told you, you'd never amount to nothing, you still holding on to that. Not my daughter. I'm talking to y'all now because I didn't tell my daughter that. But for you watching me, right? Your parents may have told you negative things and you've held on to that. And so you've been living your life trying to prove them wrong. Let me tell you this. Whenever you're trying to prove something to somebody, that is an indication you yourself don't believe it. Okay? So But what I would say to my daughter, discover who you are, who God already created you to be, so that you don't spend your life living the life of your negative beliefs. Because what you've experienced in life, especially in childhood, is not an accurate indication of who you are. So you need to discover that part. What's the third one? The third one is this: love is not a reason to get married. Love is not a reason to get married. I want all of my children to know love is not a reason to get married. I've told this story before, but I was doing a symposium or a roundtable type thing one time, and I mentioned that love is not a good reason to get married, and somebody said in the comments, well, if the reason is love, then what reason is there? And it's a I hope I don't offend anybody, but I do hope I set you free. It's an American mindset or a Western mindset that love is the end all and be all to marriage. It's not. Now, love is, I believe, the most powerful force in the universe. I do believe that. But I don't believe getting married, the reason to do that isn't love. Now, don't get married if don't get married to somebody you don't love, but don't get married for love. Why do I say that? So did you know that when God created the first marriage, he did not create it for love? He wants them to love each other. But love is like, here's God's mindset. Love is a universal, like on the planet, it's what all of us humans are supposed to do. Right? So marriage wasn't created specifically for love. As a matter of fact, if we want to be technical about it, God said, it's not good for man to be alone, so I'm going to create for him a helper. So it seems to me God gave Adam a wife because Adam had too much to do that he could not handle on his own, so he needed a helper. But God created him an equal helper, but a complementary helper. But my point is this: it wasn't for love. Okay, we put. I'm not gonna say we make love too high of a priority, but we put it in the wrong place. Right? Love is already a high priority, but you got to put it in its proper place. Right? So what's a good reason to get married? What's a good reason to get married? Well, are we going in the same direction? Right? Do we want the same things out of life? Do we fit together as far as, so here's what the Bible says: iron sharpens iron. If I'm iron, am I choosing iron so that when I get dull, you can sharpen me, and when you get dull, I can sharpen you? So I could talk more about reasons to get married. I'm just telling you, daughter, love is not one of them. Again, don't get married without love, but that's not the driving reason, right? Because ultimately in your marriage, what are y'all gonna build? If you just get married because you fell head over heels for this guy, and he's so amazing and all these things, but his character is off, and his work ethic is off, and some other things where you have now discovered God has you going this way, but this brother want to go that way. And because you didn't examine that in the beginning and now we're married, there's a tug of war. Right? Love won't fix that. Okay? So love is not a reason to get married. Here's the fourth one. Dating, because my daughter's single. Dating is for the purpose of collecting data about how they do life. Okay? When you're dating a guy, the purpose of the data collection is to see how they do life. Why? So you can discover if their values and goals fit yours. Because if they don't, y'all gonna be wasting y'all time. Okay, I meet too many women, I'm not kidding, far too many women, good quality women who've chosen men that they are now trying to rehabilitate into the kind of man that they want. And the men that they're choosing, they're not bad men. They just don't fit the life that they want. So you choose a man and then you try to mold him into your image. That's not going to work. Now, let me tell you what I mean by not work. Because some of you may say, well, that's what I want. I don't think that's what you want. Here's what I mean by that won't work. It won't be healthy. You guys are not going to really, I can't say what you're not going to do, but it's not going to be healthy. Okay. So when you're dating is not for you to be all in love. Dating is not for sex. Sex is for marriage. Absolutely, I'm telling my daughter that, even though she has a son already, even though she's full grown, that don't change what I'm gonna say. Even though I didn't live that way, right is right. You feel me? So this ain't on my notes, but what I would say is stop having sex until you get married, right? But when it comes to dating, sex is not for dating. I know the world we live in. Everybody want their back blown out, and everybody want to have the most amazing Valentine's Day every day. As you mature, you realize that stuff really don't matter much. All that does is makes me feel good, but it doesn't mean that I am good. Okay, and so my daughter, when you're dating, you're interviewing people. You're trying to see if their values line up with yours. You're trying to see if the direction they're going, if that's the way you want to go, right? Like if my calling is to, you know, do what I'm doing with marriage, but then your calling is to be over in Africa doing missions, they don't match. So me marrying you is going to be a conflict. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it can't be amazing. But here's what I'm telling my children: get it right. Well, let me say it this way. Uh, uh, get it as right as you can on the front end. So the back end work, because you're going to have back end work regardless. We're human beings. But if you get it right on the front end, I believe you have less tedious work on the back end. You're going to have work. Y'all flawed. You guys are flawed. You're not perfect, right? But some stuff we deal with in relationships, especially in the dating stage, we just shouldn't. Like, some of y'all should not be dating. Now, I'm not judging you, because when I was dating, I should not have been dating. But I didn't have anybody I had no one to tell me what I'm telling y'all. That's why I'm trying to help you. Okay? What was that? Was that number 4? Here's the 5th one. Now, I'm talking about my daughter. You tell your daughter what you want, but this is based on what I've seen on the planet, how I've lived, and what I see in my office. Here's the 5th one. If a man is not submitted to Christ, don't follow that brother to the corner store. I'm going to say it again. If he's not submitted to Christ, you can't submit to him. And if you don't like that word submit, fine. If he's not submitted to Christ, don't marry him. As a matter of fact, I don't know how much time I'm going to give him, or I don't know how much time I would give him outside, like just dating, if you're not submitted to Christ. Because, like, if I'm a female, ladies, this, if you're watching me, this is what I want your standard to be. How are you going to learn to love me if you don't even know God? Like, because God is the one that has the missing puzzle piece to how to love me perfectly. And you're not going to figure it out. Listen, here's what I've discovered. There is a missing puzzle piece, maybe a few, but at least one in every marriage for both people, right? So I can learn how to love my wife. I can learn her habits. I can learn what she likes. I can learn what turns her on. I can learn all that stuff. But there's a part of my wife that I don't have access to. And no matter how well I get to know her, I can't get to that part. I can't even describe it. But there's a puzzle piece that God has. And if I don't get with him, it's not going to fit, and we're not going to work. Now, here's what I mean by work in this area. I don't mean divorce. I mean, the marriage is not going to thrive the way God designed marriage to thrive. Here's what I mean by that. Not by the thrive part, but by the puzzle piece. See, daughter, God knows you like nobody else. And it's not possible for another man to know you like God. God's not going to give away everything to anybody. But even the husband that you choose, he's not going to give him everything, because he wants God wants your husband coming to him to know how to love you. So if you don't choose a man who is connected to, committed to, and concerned with the things of God, you're going to hurt yourself. I'm not telling you what I'm guessing at. I promise you. So for my daughter, who's 31 and she's not married yet, If you get married and dad not here, I'm a yell from heaven. Don't marry him if he's not committed to God. I'm just telling you, you're going to hurt yourself bad, real bad. Okay. So that's it. Those are the 5. I'm going to try to make these really short because I want you guys to be able to digest this and keep going. So I'm going to do another 5. I don't know when, but I think I'm going to do my sons before I do more with my daughter. But either way, hey, stay tuned because my goal is to help you do love and life better. And what better way than to do this for my children and leave something for them when I'm gone? Because when I'm dead and gone, this video is still going to be online somewhere. And so I wanted to bless you guys while I bless my daughter. By the way, did you see the thumbnail? My daughter's gorgeous, ain't she? I know she look like her dad. You don't think she does? Okay. Hey, thank y'all for checking me out. And I'll see y'all again. Some more videos coming real soon. We're not going to wait a long time. All right. Listen, y'all take care.